Good morning, everybody. It's time for Take 5, our daily devotional. I had the privilege of preaching yesterday to you. Our message was entitled, A Thirsty Woman and a Needy God. Now, I could see on your faces yesterday when I said a needy God, that there was a little bit of shock there because we often don't think of God as being needy, right? He's the one that meets all of our needs. If anybody's needy, it's us, and He's the answer to all of our problems. But we found out yesterday that there is something that God needs, that He actually desires from us, and that thing is worship. So we read John chapter 4, the story of Jesus and the Samaritan woman at Jacob's well. And if you don't remember that story real quickly, Jesus and his disciples had been traveling all day, and about lunchtime, they made it to Samaria there, and Jesus sat down at the well to rest, and he sent his disciples on into the town to get food. While he was waiting, the Samaritan woman walked up to him, and Jesus struck up a conversation with her. All he asked simply was, "Will you give me a drink?" And that kind of confused her a little bit because he was a Jew and she was a Samaritan, and those two nationalities, those two races of people hated each other, and they didn't communicate, they didn't talk to each other. So that was a little confusing for her, and they struck up this conversation about water, and Jesus was teaching her about living water, which was a little odd for her. She didn't understand this concept of some kind of water that she could drink that Jesus told her would never make her thirst again. And they conversated for a little while longer, and long story short, Jesus kind of read her mail a little bit. He asked her where her husband was, and she said, "Well, I don't have a husband." And he said, "You're right. You don't have a husband because you have been married 5 times, and the man you're living with now is not even your husband." And she was a little amazed by this because Jesus did not know her from Adam, yet he knew all these things about her and about her life. And so she reckoned him to be a prophet of some kind. So she said, "Sir, I see that you're probably a prophet." And she asked him a question that had been the center of this feud between the Jews and the Samaritans to get his take on it. She probably had some ulterior motives there, but nonetheless, she asked him the question, where is the true place of worship? Should we worship in Jerusalem, which is where the Jews said that people should worship, or should we worship here at Mount Gerizim, where we believe, the Samaritans believe, that we should worship? And Jesus replied simply, "Woman, it doesn't matter. That there's a time coming." And he said, "Indeed, it's even here now that it won't matter where you worship, whether you worship in Jerusalem or on this mountain here." And he said this, verse 23 of our text. He said, "The time is coming, indeed it's here now, when true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth." And this is the key to the title, the key to the whole message. The Father is looking for those who will worship Him in that way. Man, that is just does something to me to know and to realize that God, the creator of all the earth, the creator of the universe, my Father, King of kings and Lord of lords, is seeking out people that will worship Him truly. Every day of my life, He's seeking worship from me and from you in everything that we do. Yesterday, we defined worship simply as an expression of something or someone's worth. Basically, it's how you and I express our value of someone or something else. So my question to you today that I want you to chew on all day: how do you value God? That's the question each and every one of us have to ask ourselves. How do we truly value God? Is He worth everything that we say He is to our life? Is He worth more than everything else in our life? And if He is, the next question we then have to ask is, how are we expressing our value of God? Because it's one thing to say that you value God, but it's a whole nother thing then to express that in your worship. I told you yesterday that I was going to try to end every morning this week of our devotional time together by reminding you of the scripture that we need to pray over ourselves every single day to make sure that our hearts are in the place to express to God our value of Him. And Psalms 51 says, "Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew in me a loyal spirit." Take just a moment and pray that over your life. God, make my heart true. Create in me a clean heart that not only truly values you, but one that will freely express that through my worship, not only at church, but also in my life. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew in me a loyal spirit. Hey, I hope you have a great day today. I will see you tomorrow morning right here at Take 5.